What's up out there? No relic mode video this week. I am still in the base game, working through all the 120s on all the different skills. I am down to just a few of the combat levels, so shouldn't be more than a couple of days, and we should be back with Into the Abyss in the relic mode next week. In the absence of that, I wanted to put a video out talking about Into the Abyss. We've had it for a month or two now. I don't remember when it dropped, but it's been out for a while, and I wanted to share my thoughts with it, and I kind of wanted to ask you guys, what do you guys think of the expansion so far? I know some people skipped out. They said it looked more of just the same base game. If I look at the Steam reviews, they're very mixed, definitely mixed reviews, and I don't disagree with any of them. I'm a little mixed on it myself. I overall like the expansion. I think it's very good. However, it's a weird one to recommend. Like, Throne of the Herald was very easy to recommend. It was an extension of the base game. You got another 30 levels onto your skills or whatever. 20 levels? Yeah, 21 levels, I guess. I shouldn't say 30. It was 21 levels. So you go from 99 to 120. And you got a whole bunch of new content. You basically beat the game, killed the boss, and then you got another expansion to go through and beat the game, kill the boss. Now, this one kind of picks up in the same way and comes up, but none of the stuff you have from the base game applies to this. Very little does. So you can do things like interval reduction or chance to gain double items in some regards. Some of it applies, some of it doesn't. At first, a lot of things weren't noted, but like now they've noted on here global skill XP. And the negative to chance, like the clown hat is actually good now, because the only thing that really counts for this, unless you're in a crafting skill where you do want the chance to preserve resources, but this thing gives you 10% global mastery XP, and that counts everywhere. It doesn't matter what realm you're in, it counts. And it's actually better than the skiller's body, because this full set is only 8% and this thing is 10%. So that's good. But not everything transfers over. The Ancient Ring of Mastery transfers over, so you get 7% global skill XP. Some of these, the enhancements, these go because they have global mastery XP, or they have, I guess this doesn't matter. Oh, chance to double items globally is on here. Rune preservation is on here for whatever that matters. And preserve resources and skills, stuff like that. So some of those do apply. So that's why I've got them equipped on my skilling setup. And I find myself swapping stuff in and out. Some agility obstacles from the base game apply, like especially the ones for mastery or interval reduction, things like that. A lot of those apply. But a lot of things from the base game or all the other expansions, you've got the base game and 2 expansions before this one, and most of that stuff just doesn't apply. I don't necessarily hate that, but it does make this feel like its own compartment. And what further makes this feel, I kind of wish this, I saw a comment on Steam. Somebody said that they wish there was a button to toggle between the 2 realms, and not this thing here where you toggle between what it's displaying. Like you see this realm, you see this realm. I mean, flat out, you push the Abyssal Realm button and you go through like a little portal transition that flips the UI and turns it over into this. And then when you want to go back, you push a button, you go back through the portal, and it flips the UI back to the Melvor realm. Where I really run into problems with this is on relic mode, and especially on mobile. When I go to switch between something like, say, fletching, it starts me off almost every time, I think every time, on Melvor realm. So then I got to go over here and click on the Abyssal realm to switch over to that. And then I got to scroll through this little menu to switch between all this stuff. Whereas if this was just one realm, you wouldn't have to go through this drop down. You wouldn't have to switch over. You would just be in the Abyssal realm, and then you could select that stuff. I think that would go a long way. And then what I would do personally is in the UI, if you were going to switch the UIs over, instead of, like, I know you can turn on these toggles here to show Abyssal pieces instead of gold, or Abyssal Slayer instead of Slayer, and the soul points instead of prayer points, but you can't see both at the same time. I would love to see both. You can do that with skill levels, but you can't do that with coin or prayer points or any of that. And that it just makes it feel weird. Like I said, it'd be nice to push a button in here and you go from this realm to that realm. For the inventory, what I would do is come over here and mute out everything that does not apply. So in the case of the Abyssal Realm, none of these rings are going to apply. I can't use any of them. They just don't apply. So they would get muted out, dulled out so you couldn't see them. And the ones that would stand out would be this row here because this is all Abyssal stuff. But I would also include stuff like the Amulet of Fishing because this applies because of the interval reduction. So I would somehow tag that as Abyssal or whatever, that it somehow tag it so it applied. And then mute all the rest of this out that doesn't apply. I think that would be a good way to do it. And then flip the UI from, you know, the red level indicators and Abyssal Gold, Abyssal Slayer, and Prayer over to what we're used to seeing with the Melvor Realm. I think that would be a good way to do it. Instead of having to toggle things on or off, you could just flip from one realm to the other. I think that would go a long way to making this a lot better. However, there are other things about this that are a little odd. So when you beat the base game and you go into Throne of the Herald, it was kind of like a natural progression from level 99 to level 120. It just extended the game up into that direction. Now they've already done that, so you can't do that again here. So what they did is they created a whole different realm and a whole different story, a different big bad and all that to go kill. And it kind of just takes the base game, as somebody in Steam put it, turns it red and then lets you go. I don't necessarily have a problem with that. I think it's fine. I think a lot of this is kind of a natural way to progress things. You're going to have to make it be a little bit grindier. You're going to have to make it take a little bit longer. Like if we could transfer everything we had from all the other expansions into this, we'd be done with this in a month and bored. And that's kind of how Atlas of Discovery was for my standard account. I plowed through that in a heartbeat because I took everything from, I had full completion in both the base game and the Throne of the Herald. And in fact, I had quit playing for a little while because I had already had everything. There wasn't any reason to keep playing. It was all done. So when the Atlas of Discovery expansion came out, I smoked through it and that was done. With this has taken a long time to get anything done. And some of that, like the drop rates for some of this stuff is very slow. Some of it's been removed and put into the skill trees. Like, I feel like we've lost, how much do we get in here? There's 5, 10, 2, 4, 6. So there's 16% XP that is gotten back. Oh, 21. My math's bad, but we've got what, 21% XP? That's a lot of percentage of XP that's dropped out. Not only that, these cost a lot more. Like the amount of XP it takes to get there is higher. I know this says 12 million and that says 9 million, but I feel like this was a lot slower progression. And part of the ways that they wanted to keep you engaged with the game longer was to just slow everything down enormously. And if this was a free-to-play game, you would be buying the skill trees as boosters. There are other places you can get speed ups like fire making. If you go into the fire making skill tree, it's got global abyssal XP. I think Township's got some global abyssal XP also. I feel like there was some in here too. Yeah, global abyssal XP in here. So there's some tucked away in a lot of different places, and there's probably other ones that I'm missing. But yeah, I'm a little mixed on this myself. I don't really have a hard, fast opinion. Like with Throne of the Herald, yeah, that was a great expansion. Throne of the Herald is the best expansion this game's had. Atlas of Discovery is good. I like it. It's kind of weird and off to the side. I wished it picked up like the other two did after you beat the Impending Darkness event and just kind of went with its own thing. I kind of wished it started there. That would have been cool. It's kind of a weird offshoot off to the side. It's not at the end, whereas the other two expansions come off the end. But this one here, Into the Abyss, just feels like a separate game or a separate module. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think if there was a realm switch button to where you actually change the entire interface over, it would feel better. Even if it was the same exact game that it is today, I think that switch might help differentiate it. That might make it seem different, even though it's not. It would just kind of feel different. I don't know. And maybe some of I'm not even going to go into all that. this is a mod that I've got on here. I was going to say it'd be nice if this one differentiated some stuff because some of this stuff doesn't apply. I know it does apply, but I wish there was a way to, I know you could filter some of this stuff out, but I wish there was a little more configurable to just show what applies here, because some of the things that it tells you can take, I know that's Global Mastery XP on there, but there's a few of these that I guess they technically apply, but they're not something I'd ever use. I don't know. That's kind of like a whole other subject, but we're getting about onto it as long as I wanted to make this video. So what do you guys think of the expansion? I'm mixed on it. It looks like the Steam community's fairly mixed on it. I'm guessing people are kind of mixed on it as well. I've seen people that said they didn't care for it because it just looked like a red version of the base game. I've seen people in Steam say that this is a red version of the base game, and I don't know. I mean, we're all playing through it. It is the last expansion, so it does kind of have a finality to it. I don't mind that it's taken a while. I do feel like it's a horribly long slog in a lot of ways. Like for smithing, you have to get multiple different components. Crafting's even worse. Like you got to get 4 components to actually craft any of this stuff. All this kind of crap in the base game, I just took the one that had mastery level 99 and was the easiest to make, and then I just kept going for mastery. Maybe not skill-wise, but for mastery, because this is just slow. I would probably go over to these things or something. They're less XP than some of this other stuff, but some of this other stuff takes so much time to gather everything, it's almost easier just to let this just do the simpler stuff. And they did some of this in the base game, for sure. Like if you look at hardwood armor, all this carrying stuff was, and all these hardwood armor was horrible. They give you great XP, but they take forever to get enough logs that you could run this out. So basically, yeah, that's a lot of XP. So you'd basically grab these out of Township. I think some of this stuff came out of Township, right? Elderwood and Revenant, yeah, and Carrion. So you could pull some of this out of town. Like you get 1 million of them and you get an hour or two's worth of crafting out of it. And then you'd have to stop and do something else because you'd just blow through them so fast. It was just more economical to pick something else to gain your XP. You'd use this when you could, and that was it. And now the entire Abyssal Realm is almost all this kind of stuff that takes multiple components, lots of each. There's cost reduction in here. Like there's this cost reduction, but again, this feels like it was kind of taken away and sold back to you, as you go and unlock other stuff. I don't necessarily hate it. And these aren't in the base game. The additional primary resources and cost reduction doesn't appear in the base game. And you can't use this in the base game. So it's kind of a one-way street. You come over here and you're playing over here, and that's that. So I don't know. I've rambled on enough. Let me know what you guys think of the expansion down below, and positive about it, negative about it, mixed on it like I am. I don't know. I don't have anything that I really hate about it, but I don't have anything that I really love about it either. It's not, I don't want to say it's mid. I mean, I think it's a good expansion overall. It just kind of taking some of the worst aspects of dragging everything on and just kind of continuing on with that. So anyway, let me know what you think below, and that will do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.